triggers, they are probably my least favorite part of humaning, and they impact everybody at some level or another, whether you're aware of it or not. It's definitely a thing that happens. But I had an interesting experience recently that I wanted to share with you all that might change your entire outlook related to your triggers. Hello, fabulous. I hope today is treating you kindly. We're going to talk about a little bit of a touchy subject today, but before we do that, if you haven't already done so, please do like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to stay up to date on all my latest content that is for you, by you. Leave me a comment below. Let me know how you're doing and what additional content you want to see so I can make sure I can get that made for you. Let's get into it. So, triggers are a thing that everyone experiences for sure, without doubt, even if they're not necessarily aware that that's what's going on. But I actually listened to something recently, and it was just a snippet of a thing, which it changed my perspective on that whole aspect of my life, and it may well change your perspective on yours as well. I was scrolling through something, I think it might have been Facebook or something. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And I saw a snippet from Tony Robbins where he was talking about your triggers are all in your head. And things out there in the world don't actually trigger you. It's all within. You are the one making yourself miserable with whatever the thing is, because whatever is happening external to the world, that's not something that's making you behave in a certain way specifically. He's basically talking about taking responsibility for the history that lives in your head. So, like any experiences that you had previous that maybe were less than ideal, or just events that have occurred that, those memories are very strong and they exist in not just your brain, but also your whole entire nervous system. They live inside your whole entire body. And it was interesting talking about, like, oh, well, this thing triggered me, and it's completely outside of my control and there's nothing I can do about it, versus his perspective, which is, well, it's all in your head. What if it's all in your head? Because it is. All your triggers and everything that upsets you, you are choosing to be upset based on stuff you've invented in your own mind. And I was like, oh my God, but the man has a point. Because literally, how often do we make ourselves crazy over things that, like, our interpretation of events, right? I had experiences recently where people thought I was upset with them because I didn't perform in a way that was expected. And I was like, no, I just did something different. I'm not mad at anybody. I'm good. I just needed to do something different for myself. And so me showing up differently created a trigger, opportunity for someone else, which set a cascade of chemistry and thought process and all this stuff in someone else's mind. And Lord knows I've had this happen to me a lot. This happens a lot with grief. This happens a lot with trauma. This happens a lot with all kinds of things. I have had multiple opportunities where something has occurred that is completely independent of whatever it is that exists inside my brain, but because it's similar enough, my nervous system completely goes nuts and freaks out in the same exact way as though I were experiencing that original event. And it's crazy making some days. Like, honestly, it's not a thing I would choose to participate in. But at the same time, I kind of am, by not acknowledging that that is exactly what is happening. Like, not being able to take a step back and go, actually, this is a completely different experience. I'm not an 8-year-old child. I'm a fully grown adult. This is not a negative encounter with a dangerous adult. This is me having an experience with another human being, and it's not as deep as I think it is. It's not as deep as my nervous system interprets it to be. That's not to say that there's not plenty of room for me to heal and grow and move into a space where things are significantly less triggering. But it does give me kind of that accountability to myself, saying, hey, actually, nervous system, I appreciate that you feel the way that you feel. And this is a completely different scenario. You've not had this experience before. It's okay to be curious instead of afraid. It's okay to take this as it comes. It's okay to acknowledge all of the chemistry that's happening, all the feelings I got going on right now. And it's also okay to create some separation from the feelings. In other words, observing that they're there, allowing them to move their way through me, through my body, as a chemistry that just washes through in about 90 seconds. And then I can move on through the day and be proud of myself because I didn't completely lose my mind, because that can happen some days. And that's not to say I'm going to get it right all the time. And that's definitely not to say I have it all figured out, because that is very much not the case. But it just gives me the freedom to choose how I can respond on a whole new level that I hadn't considered before. And that feels pretty amazing, because there's plenty of things that have happened, especially recently, that I could go completely nuts over, and I could stew and stress and obsess and all of the things. But I'm realizing that maybe that's not necessary. Maybe it's all just in my head. Maybe it doesn't need to be in my head. Maybe it doesn't need to stay there. Maybe it can change. So again, that gives me a sense of freedom. And it's interesting because, being responsible for yourself, taking responsibility and accountability actually does create a fair bit of freedom. It's not popular and most people resist it like the plague, but I'm telling you, it's amazing. It's amazing. So I would challenge you moving forward to consider when you have a triggering moment. Now, obviously, those things are going to happen. They may not be predictable and we may not be able to escape them, but I would challenge you to just sit with yourself for a moment. Give yourself a little bit of space between the feelings and the experience and just notice. Maybe it's just starting with noticing, oh, well, when I engage with this kind of person, I feel uncomfortable in my body. I feel tension. I feel like my muscles are tightening, that I want to throw up, that I want to run away, that I'm afraid, whatever the thing is. Just notice how you feel in your body and go, okay, so this exists in my mind. Am I actually safe in this moment? Most of the time you are. Most of the time you are. You're safe, but your nervous system doesn't feel that way, and it's going to take it a minute to catch up. So we can start by noticing how we feel, and then we can start by creating a little bit of separation, a little bit of that. Okay, I honor how I feel. I see that you feel that. That's very interesting. What does this situation remind me of? When have I felt like this in the past? And usually this is not going to be in the moment. This is going to be a reflection afterwards. And it's okay if you don't get it right, because everything takes practice. Go, okay. So I remember when I felt like this, I was X years old. This was the situation. This is where my nervous system goes. This is where my brain goes. This is what exists within my being when I encounter something that mirrors that experience. And that's okay. Everybody has those moments. There's nothing to be ashamed of, okay? It's just part of humaning. You're fine. You're doing it. You're doing it fine. You are. Promise. And then once you've had your reflective moment, you can look on the experience that was triggering and go, okay, how is this? I see how this is similar, but it's not the same thing. And slowly over time, you can convince your nervous system not necessarily to jump right on the shortcut track of, oh my God, everything's on fire. This is a tiger. We're all going to die. It can be more of, okay, I've had similar experiences before. I haven't had this experience yet, but I know that I'll be okay because I've made it this far. I've survived everything else. I'm going to make it. I can have faith in myself that I'm going to be okay. It's okay to be scared, and it's okay to do things scared. It's okay. And just notice the freedom that this can create for you from feeling activated all the time and feeling like you need to escape and run away. You have so much strength, so much strength. And I have so much faith in your abilities because you've already made it this far and you've survived all the things. You have a 100% track record. You can do this. You may not want to. Lord knows I don't, but here we are. It's part of humaning. This is what we got to work with. And I know that you're going to make it. I know that you can do this. I know that you can handle anything that comes your way, even if you don't like it, even if you don't want to, even if it sucks. And you don't have to do it alone. That part I know for sure. You very much don't have to do it alone. So let's just practice this. Let's just practice taking accountability for our triggers because they're all in our heads. And let's just practice giving ourselves some freedom, much deserved freedom. You are not that scared little kid anymore. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to exist in that feedback loop of terror because of something that happened previous. So I hope this helps. Practice, see how you do, notice how you feel. If nothing else, maybe it'll just give you a few moments of relief from those times where you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't, I don't want to. No, thank you. And again, no judgment. Please do seek out professional support as you need it. There is absolutely no shame in going to therapy, getting support from trusted individuals, especially people who are professionals. They do this for a living for a reason. They're very, very good. So use your employee assistance programs if you have one. You can seek out therapy in all kinds of different places. Just do what you can to support yourself and know that there's no shame and no judgment. You are so valuable and so worthy and so loved exactly as you are. So thank you with glitter on it for choosing to hang out with me today. And I hope that you have a sparkly rest of your day.